Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Mindset Monday. I am your host, Erica Beach. This week, our topic is about marinating in mistakes. Mistakes happen at every level of athletics. The key to rising as an athlete into the elite realm is about how you handle mistakes. How do you recover from them? How do you process them? And how do you use them to make yourself better? Most young athletes, they tend to dwell. Sometimes they will literally be thinking about them all night. The whole ride home, they're remembering the dropped ball or they're remembering the strikeout with runners in scoring position. They remember giving up the home run and the pitch it was. They remember every bobbled ball or bad throw that they know they could have executed or the mental mistakes that they made. It's replaying, it's cycling. The biggest thing as an athlete is about processing those failures and those mistakes quickly. So a lot of those young athletes will start to take that failure, and as the time progresses, they will cycle that into self-worth, into self-doubt, and all of a sudden it's no longer, oh, I made a mistake. It is, I am not a good blah. Coach probably thinks I'm terrible. My teammates are disappointed in me. Those thoughts start to invade their minds. That's really hard to deal with as a young athlete. And it's very hard to tell what is truth and what is not, because it all feels true because you know you made mistakes and it feels like they're so glaring. And as a young athlete, it's hard to differentiate between isolating the mistake, using it to help make you better, and holding that mistake and marinating in it. And then you're just stewing in all the negative. When kids marinate in their mistakes, their confidence starts to drop. The brain will remember the mistakes more than they will remember the good plays. And that's just how we're conditioned as humans. If they hold on to those mistakes, the next game, the next rep, the next everything gets harder. And it starts to cycle into where everything feels harder and more of a struggle. And it just kind of feeds itself. It self-feeds into this cycle of a downward trajectory. Great athletes, they fail, they learn, they adjust, and the most important thing is they move on. There's no perfect timeline for that. I used to get in trouble with coaches because they would think that I would move on too quickly after a failure. It was never that case. I was really good about, what did I do wrong? What can I do better? How can I do better? And when is my next opportunity? I was pretty good about being able to drop that luggage at the back door and just move on after a bad performance. And some coaches took it as I didn't care or I wasn't invested, but it was just about, I got really good at processing the mistakes and moving forward. So there are 3 simple steps that you can do to stop marinating in your mistakes. The first one's going to be, use the one play rule. Every play, every mistake that you have, you get one reaction to each play. You can be frustrated, angry, disappointed, all the things. Once the next play is beginning, your mindset says next play. Each play only gets that one moment, whether it's good or bad. You have to be able to keep it in its little box and be able to push the box aside and go to the next one. The best athletes have this short-term memory. Step number 2 is about take the lesson, leave the emotion. And this one's really hard because when you're younger, emotions tend to run a little wild. And we tie our well-being and our self-worth to performance. So when negative things happen, emotions tend to rise. We look at it emotionally. We feel disappointed. We feel frustrated. We feel anxious. We feel all of these things. The key is about, what can I learn from this mistake? What will I do differently next time? And then once you answer those questions, the mistake has now done its job. Mistakes are lessons. So those are the 2 things that the mistake teaches us. Once you're done, you don't need to carry it around with you. Drop the emotion. Try to think about things a little bit more logically than emotionally. That's really hard because our game is full of emotion and passion, And we don't want that to go away. But with the processing of failures and mistakes, we want to eliminate as much emotion as possible. The more your emotions flow and go extreme up and down, your performance tends to follow that trajectory as well. The more steady that we can keep those emotions, the more steady our performance tends to be. So remember that. Take the lesson. Ask those 2 questions. What can I learn from it? And what can I do differently? Eliminate that emotion about the mistake. It is not a reflection of you as a person. It's a mistake. Always remember, it's there to ask you 2 questions. Answer those 2 questions and leave the mistake at the door. Leave the emotions at the door when you're processing failure. Number 3 is about separating the athlete from the person. This is a huge issue in athletics. We just tie ourselves so closely as people into what we do. You're a softball player, you're an athlete, you're a baseball player. That's what you do, but it's not who you are. And that is a huge lesson. Understanding that a mistake, it means you missed the ball. It means you struck out. It means you threw a fat pitch, or it means you made a mental mistake. It's something you did, not who you are. Repeat that. The mistake is something I did, not who I am. Let that sink in, because that is the biggest point when dealing with failure. And at the end of the day, athletes grow the most by learning from failure. Those mistakes are what fuel your growth. So, my athletes, the next time you make a mistake, and you will, I can promise you that, remember this. Visit the mistake, learn from it, then leave it behind. You are not cooking in the kitchen. So stop marinating in your mistakes, learn from it, and move on. I think this is a really important topic for athletes and coaches, and I hope it's helpful to you, your athlete, and your players. Have a good one, guys. See you next week.